Daf Tedvav Amud Aleph, 16 lines down. V'savar Shmuel lokeach megazlan net lashvacha. Does Shmuel really hold that someone who buys stolen land from a robber doesn't get the compensation for the improvements that he made? Amar Shmuel Rav Hinina bar Shalat Imlech. He said, when you write a purchase of land, you shall write and agree to the following. Uchtov, to record the following. Shufra, you are that if the land is seized because it was owed to someone else, you have to pay for from the best property. Shvaha for the improvements. Ding 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 ding. Upeda, and also for fruits. But what's this case talking about that it got stolen, that it would get confiscated? If it was a loan, why would the creditor be able to touch the fruits? You're supposed to watch it. Amar Shmuel, Balchov goved shebach. And Shmuel says that this Balchov collects the improvements. Shebach only the improvements and not the fruits. But this was obviously referring to the case of robber. And we still see that you are compensated. That you are compensated for the improvements. Where it says, no, no. You're assuming the reason why we said before we don't allow payments for the improvement is because it looks like you're paying interest. You're paying more than what the guy took. Over here, he's replacing it with karka, with land. And since he's replacing it with land, it doesn't look like interest anymore. Now, I'm going to ask a question. What's the se'ah? Are you allowed to loan a se'ah for a se'ah? So this is a very interesting concept. Are you allowed to loan, in general, the halakha that you can't, is machoket, whether or not you're allowed to loan a pound of wheat kernels for now, and you'll pay me back a pound of wheat kernels later. Problem with that is like all commodities, silver, gold, wheat, oil, gas, the price changes and it fluctuates. So therefore, if you do it from now and I pay back in a month from now, it's gonna be a different price. Gemara says, the is the same thing apply with land. You're able to do that. The Gemara says, the reason why you can't do it in general, replace something for the next, is because that is a loan. That's where interest is more stringent, right? Here by a purchase, since it's not as obvious or as clear that it looks like interest, therefore it is mutar. You could have a different answer, a different way of saying it. Mario Yosef Hachmaski in this case is talking about the case where the guy bought it from the robber, and they said he'll pay us back. You to borrow a loan for payment for this Yani loan a pound for a pound. In a situation where they bought it to repay it. Same answer over there was loan, over here is a purchase, which is okay. Kufa, we said earlier, Shmuel said, the creditor can collect the improvements of a land made. Says, you should know that it is true. How? This is the document that says, like, this is what the regular document says in the sale. Ana ikum, I will stand by, v'ashpe, and silence, v'adke, and protest, and purify. V'amarek zvina ilin, and I'll cleanse the sale of all protest. Inun, this property they purchased, v'amalhan, their expenses, yani the money that you spent to put on it, ushvahin, and their improvements. V'ikum kudmach, and I'll stand in front of you with this agreement, v'tzaveh, savadin, dinan, and the purchaser also agreed to these conditions, v'kabela, and accepted these terms. So we see from there, the seller agrees to compensate for the improvements, and he can pay. That's true. In regarding to a gift, where the guy does not obviously is not right to guarantee that he's going to replace it if it gets touched or help him recover it if it gets touched. So in that situation, he doesn't guarantee it. That would he would not be able to recover and recoup the improvements. True. I have no problem saying that. Why is the strength of a gift stronger than the sale? How come the sale you could recoup the improvements, but not a gift? Mara says, and it is stronger because the guy can't recoup it because the gift was given without any strings attached. The guy didn't pay anything for it. He got it as a gift, and the guy's obviously not going to guarantee it because he's doing the guy a favor by giving it to him in the first place. Maran Nachman says, "Hamatnita Mesiah Shmuel." We have a proof for Shmuel. V'huna Habrin, however, our friend Huna Mokimna Miachani interpreted differently. The writer says, "Amachesh the Hare Rosman still feels his friend. V'hare he yotzah mitachid, and it leaves his possession." يعني got confiscated. Kishu gove when he tries to recoup his compensation. Gove ta'keren min nechasim mishabadim. He collects the principal from lien properties. Ushvach gove min nechasim mechorim. He collects the improvements from unlien properties. So we see that you can recoup improvements. But Huna, however, Huna redirects it, and he says Mokim lo b'muni lachneni lokiach mikazan. It's referring to a case where he bought it from a robber. So even though the Bretta sounds like you can recoup improvements from stolen land, a creditor can't, right? So he kind of took away, pulled the rug under his from under him. Okay. Tani another Brita says, someone sells a field to his friend, and his friend in the prior improved it. The creditor come and took it. Right. So Reuben sold to Shimon. Shimon added pineapples, and then Levi takes it because he was owed money by Reuven. When the purchaser collects money, Shimon collects money from Reuven for this loss. If the improvements is more than the expenses, if you put $1,000 into it, now the pineapples are worth $10,000. Until he gets reimbursed for the improvements. And the expenses from the creditor. So the seller would give him the improvements, and the creditor would give him the expense. But if the expenses are more than improvements, the purchaser can only collect the improvements from the creditor. Okay, Yanni, you don't pay for the full expenses. But Shmuel, what did Shmuel explain in this case, according to? Ibn Kamazan is referring to someone who stolen land from a robber. Kasheresha, the first part doesn't fit because Amar Shmuel, he says if you buy land from a robber, you don't get reimbursed for the improvements. Ibn which is referring to loan. Kasheresha, both parts don't make sense according to Shmuel. Amar Shmuel says, the robber creditor can collect the improvements without compensating the guy at all. No strings attached. And over here we say the Bretta says in both cases that the guy does compensate the purchaser for his expenses. The Gemara says two answers. The first answer we could say is either the Bretta is referring to the guy who bought stolen land from a robber, and in that case the robber had land. Or at the time so either he gets him reimbursed because he's reimbursing with land, which we do because that's not considered interest. Or a different answer is when he acquired, he requested the guarantee. If it's a different answer, the Baal it can be referring to the case of a loan. The Lokash is not a stira. Khan in our Braita, Beshvach is referring to the improvement. It was a harvestable improvements. We had this in Baba Kama as well. Therefore, you have to reimburse for the expenses. But according to Shmuel, when you say you don't pay back, which it's not harvestable, and therefore it's not considered subject to reimbursement. One second, that's not true because we see it all the time by Shmuel. The Shmuel does collect from the lands with improvements, even though it's actually even when it is ready for harvesters without paying it back. The Gemara says, that's referring to where the guy is demanding from the seller the amount equal to the value of the land plus the improvements. Therefore, he collects the whole debt without having to pay back the buyer. But in the case of the Brata, where the guy is only demanding this from the seller only for the amount of money for the land without the improvements, therefore the creditor has to give the improvements to the guy, and then he could kish him. Right? So it depends who's paying what. If you're getting reimbursed fully with the improvements, then yeah, you have to pay back the guy. But if you're not paying it back, you're only getting paid back the principal, and he can collect the improvements from the creditor. Okay, Gemara says that makes sense according to the that if the buyer of a land has money, he cannot prevent the creditor from possessing the land. Which means if Reuben sold the land to Shimon, Levi comes to Shimon and says, "Sorry, Reuben owes me money." Can Shimon flus Levi and say, "Listen, he owes you money, I'll pay you it." Right? No need to repossess it. Right? Imagine the bank wants to possess someone's house for foreclosure, and you say, before you take it, I'll buy it from you right now. Don't take it from me. I'm living there, I'll buy it. Right? So what's the halacha? So if it makes sense according to the opinion of that you can't lose him, you can't pay him, that makes sense. Because then the guy who's owed the money, the loan, can collect even the improvements because he's not going to be compensated from it. Opinion says that you can force him, you can force him to accept it. The guy could tell him 1 second. If I had cash, I could have paid you off for the entire thing. If I don't now that I don't have cash to stop you from repossessing it, at least grant me the part of land, the 10% of the land to in the value of the land, the improvements I put. Mar says Achmai is referring to the case. The man, when the guy sold it, he made it and the land was an apotiki to the creditor. Apotihekai. This shall be for you, like a guarantee. When he borrowed the money, he said, "This land on East 13 will be yours if I don't pay you back," and therefore the guy could grab it without any problems. Your right to collect will only come from this field, and therefore you can grab it without any questions asked. Interesting case. If the buyer bought something and as he's buying it, realizes that who he's buying from must have stolen it, didn't belong to him. And he still bought it and he improved it. Then the owner came and confiscated it. Amar Rab says, Ma'ot yeshlo, he can get payback for the principal. Shavachino, he does not get payback for the improvements. Shmuel says, no. Afilu Ma'ot no, he doesn't get back anything. Mike, and he was based off of Rab, so Rab holds Adam Shekaka in law. Rab hold it. He knows that the land doesn't belong to him, but he bought it, and why did he give it to him? Why did he buy it? He gave the money as like a deposit, and therefore he has to get refunded. So how come he didn't tell him as a deposit? The Gemara says because he says like, hey, if I tell him it's going to be a deposit of money because I know you don't own it, then the guy will run away. He won't accept it to purchase. Which Shmuel says. No, really, he knows it wasn't his. He gave it to him as a present. If I get caught, I get caught. How come he didn't say it's a gift? The Gemara says, no, he'd be embarrassed for the seller to accept the gift. The Gemara says, oh, 1 second. The concept of being embarrassed of a unwritten rule, unspoken gift. We had this mahloket elsewhere in Mesiah Daf, Kedushin, Brayta says, someone tries to marry his sister. Right? He gave her $1,000, here's $1,000, obviously it doesn't work. Rav says, the money gets refunded. Shmuel says, it's gift, she doesn't have to return it. Rav holds that it's returned. I know that he can't marry his sister. He's just making a joke and he's letting her saying, okay, here's the money, give it back to me when you're done. How come he didn't say just watch it? Gemara says, she didn't want to watch it. Therefore, he did this whole guess. Shmuel said it's a gift. Because the man knows that the Kedushin won't work. Therefore, he made up his mind to give it as a gift. How come he didn't give it as a gift? He said, I don't want to give her a gift because then she won't touch it. She'll be embarrassed to take it. So how come we have the same concept twice? The Gemara said tzricha when in both cases. The iyat madbahaf we only mentioned in the first case of the stolen property, which is brought down now. Maybe only over there Rav would say it's a deposit. Because why would he be giving a gift to a random guy he's not related to? Regarding his sister, that is considered a gift. Therefore, we have to teach that case. We only mentioned the case of the sister. We only over there Shmuel says it's a gift because you give it to relatives. In the case of the stolen property, maybe he agreed to Rav that it's considered a deposit. Therefore, we need both cases. Now the Gemara says, whether and therefore, right? So therefore, if that's the case, if Rav holds that it's pikadon, a deposit, Rav Shmuel holds it's a gift. That doesn't explain the fact that the guy bought the land and then started working on the land. How to eat the fruits. If he's doing it either as a gift or as a thing, why is he touching the land if he knows it doesn't belong to him? Gemara says he tries to rationalize. I'll go down to the land. I'll start working and eating from it. And what will happen? Just like the seller did until now. When the guy comes to confiscate it, my money will be either the Rav Damar will be a deposit, it'll either be a matana or a gift according to Rav or Shmuel. Rav says, I can drop down some halachot after all this, all the way from 2 tapim ago. If the guy bought something from the seller, he does get refunded. the money. He also gets refunded the improvements. Even if he did not explicitly tell him that he'll get refunded, he didn't guarantee it. If the guy bought the land that was not this, obviously not the same as we had on Amud Aleph, and he still bought it, then it was confiscated. He gets back the principal, does not get back improvements. Not halacha. If the guy did not write the fact that he's guaranteeing in the document, right? If it wasn't written, we had a machloket whether or not it's considered an oversight of the sofer, if it was a mistake, or do we say and therefore it would work, or do we say sorry, he didn't write it, it doesn't count. Rav holds ta'ut sofer is considered a mistake. Ben b'shterah whether it's a loan, ben b'shterah make a home car or with the sale, automatically there will be a guarantee even if it's not written. Shmuel asked the question from Rav. If after the robber sold the land that he stole, he returned back to the owner and bought it again. Mahu, what's halacha? Can he now go to the guy he sold it to, and now that he's the proud owner of this land after he stole it and then bought it from the guy he stole it from, can he go back to the guy he sold it to and repossess it? When he first sold it to him, what did he sell him? Any subsequent access he has to it. And now that he has access to it, he basically handed over free access to the owner, the new owner. And therefore, he can't seize it. My time, why? So we're breaking down why. What's the reason that the guy's buying the land? Right? What's the purpose of him buying it? So Morzit says the reason why he's buying it from the original guy because people don't want to. He doesn't want people to call him a robber when someone else comes to confiscate it. Rashi says he wants people to still trust his word. So if it would have gotten confiscated, they wouldn't trust him. What's the difference? The meat if one example be the practical difference would be if the buyer died after he purchased the land. So therefore, Mandamar, according to Moses, who says that the reason why he buys is to become he want to be called a robber, but then they could still grab it from the children. Hamitle. So if he died, no one will call him a robber. According to the Bravashi who holds he wants to be trustworthy. He also want to stand by his word with the children as well. Therefore, he wants to protect it. Commercial in a second. But that's the case. If the guy that you could take it away from the purchaser, then the children of the purchaser will become a robber. That doesn't solve anything. Let's try another one. The robber died. According to the Bain, that he doesn't want to call a robber, and the robber's children can grab it back. Hamitle, he died, and won't be bothered. He'd be standing by his word. Even though he died, he was still on his word to be trustworthy even after he died. Where I said 1 second, just so it doesn't make sense either. Even according to the first opinion regarding the robber part, they'll call him the children of the robber. So therefore, he also wanted to be protected. Still no difference. No difference between the two of them. They have the type of matana. The robber gave the land to someone else as a gift, not as a sale. Mandamar, according to the opinion, they want to be considered a trustworthy matana. Also regarding a gift, he also wants to be trustworthy that the guy won't, someone won't take it away. Therefore, he can't grab it. Mandamar, according to the opinion, he doesn't want to be called a robber. Amarle, he said, I could tell him, the guy could tell him, I give you this gift, but what did I steal from you? You can't call me a robber, I gave it to you as a gift, and I'm just retaking it back, not a big deal. Now the Gemara is going to continue talking about the halacha regarding if you sold something that was stolen and the guy bought it from the original guy. Chita, it's obvious, Zebna, if the guy had sold it to someone else, or he gave it to one of his children, or he gave it to a gift to someone else, and then he bought it from the original guy. He doesn't want to do it in order to getting back the first buyer's trust because he already gave it to someone else before buying it back. Right? He doesn't want to clear his name or anything. Now, but if he got it, he inherited it from someone else. Yani, the guy he stole from happened to be related to him, and the guy died, and now he inherited it. That's considered a passive acquisition. He didn't buy it. He didn't work to get it. Therefore, after he sells the land, now that he owns it, he can collect it back instead. He can collect it back now as the newfound owner. Hazina, and therefore we have to check into it. If the owner had other land to pay with, the Amar Haibain and the robber said, you know what? I want that one. Give me the one that I stole as my payment. We assume that he wants to secure the land for himself, and therefore he can't grab it from the guy he sold it to. But if he did not have any other land, he just wanted to get paid his loan, and he didn't want to do it in order to grab it back. Yeah, the robber sold the land, and the owner gave it to the robber as a gift. Say, I know you stole it, but here, keep it as a gift. Once the gift's like inheritance, the hamamela, therefore he got it passively. Therefore, if he wants, he could grab it back. He's not trying to protect anybody. He wants it back. He could grab it back. It's like a purchase. He didn't exert him. If he did not try to get favor and become eligible for this gift, he would never seen the gift, and therefore he wanted to give it to him, and therefore conclude that he wanted to keep it, so therefore he could be standing by his word. We'll stop here.